Well, hello and welcome to a new video. Today we are talking foundations. So a couple of weeks ago I did a video where I created a tag all about my primers, where I created different categories like the oldest, the newest, the most expensive, the cheapest, etc. And so I presented you some of the primers present in my collection, and it was my plan to keep going with the series and create a tag basically for every step of the makeup, every time with different categories depending on which step we are focused on. And so today we are doing just that with foundation. Starting with the foundation I do have on today, and that is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Freshware. This is an amazing foundation from the drugstore. It's not expensive. It's not the cheapest, but it's not expensive. It's a nice natural finish. It's really one of those foundations that it's not too mattifying, it's not too hydrating, it's not too much of a coverage, but it's also covering enough your imperfections if you have them. It's really a nice everyday foundation. I have been wearing it quite often recently because the shade that I have, which is 150 Radiant Beige, is just way too dark for me normally. And so because I still have my tan going on for me right now, I'm still enjoying this baby here. Unfortunately, in a few weeks I'm gonna have to retire it because it's just gonna be too dark. But other than that, really great foundation. For the second category, let's talk about the most expensive foundation in my collection, and that would have to be this Dior, what's it called? Forever Skin Glow Cushion Foundation. This is technically 59 euros, but I got it half price. So it's technically not the foundation on which I spend the most money, but still, it's kind of the most expensive. Unfortunately, I cannot really tell you what I think about this foundation, other than the fact that the packaging is beautiful. I haven't tried it yet. This is the shade 2N. It's gonna be way too light for me at the moment. And because it's a cushion foundation, I don't want to open it just to try it out, knowing that it's just gonna sit in my drawer for 2 months. You know what I mean? So looking forward to trying it though. Now, just in order to give you an expensive option that I have tried and that I love, I also have the YSL All Hours Foundation. This is 52 euros, so kind of close. I love this foundation. I believe it was one of my first high-end foundation, not this one, another shade that I threw out. It's more of a high coverage matte finish foundation. If you have dry skin, I don't think you will like it, but I don't. And I do love this foundation. On the other hand of the spectrum, we have the most affordable foundation in my collection, and that would be the Pretty Natural Hydrating Foundation from Essence. This is 4.99 euros. I don't like this. I've tried it once or maybe twice. I remember I tried it when I did a video, a full face of Essence makeup. Didn't like it. I can't remember if I pushed it and tried it another day. But yeah, what is weird is that it's supposed to be hydrating and it's actually kind of drying on me. So I don't really get it. I know that Taylor Wynn loves this foundation. It's one of her most favorite. She does have dry skin, so we're probably looking for different things in foundations, but still, I need to try this again to see really what I think about it and try it using different methods and stuff. But yeah, so far, not a fan. Which is why I'm also going to talk to you about another very affordable foundation. This is the HD Liquid Coverage Foundation from Catrice. This is $6.99, so it's only 2 more euros than the Essence, and this one, I love it. I really love it. I had another one that I had to throw away, and I bought it again. It is just a nice everyday foundation. It is covering, but it's not like suffocating your skin. It's very easy to blend into the skin as well. I remember I was applying this with an artiste brush. I love this stuff. So if you want a very affordable foundation, I would suggest go with this one, but it's up to you. Moving on to my oldest foundation in my collection. Now this was tough because, as always, my memory sucks, okay? There are certain things that I remember vividly buying, but I cannot tell you when exactly that was. I do remember buying this foundation. This is the Urban Decay All-Nighter Foundation. I know where I bought it. I can still kind of see myself in that store, but I don't know if that's really the oldest, but I do think so. I was hesitating with this one, the YSL, but I had bought a first one of these, but the shade was kind of wrong. And so later on, I repurchased this in the correct shade. So I still think that this one is the oldest foundation that I have at the moment. This, I remember not liking it. It's a full coverage matte finish foundation, which technically is what I love. This was very drying, but I'm thinking, like, at that time, my skincare routine wasn't what it is right now, and I feel like I had an oily skin, but very dehydrated, so maybe that's why this felt dry back then. I should try it again, but you know the drill, and I'm waiting for my tan to fade. But yeah, this I wasn't a fan of. The packaging is gorgeous, though. Now, my newest foundation is this one. This is the Fenty Ease Drop Blurring Skin Tint. I'm still seeing this as a foundation because even though it says it's a skin tint, I feel like it gives you a lot more coverage than a usual skin tint would, which is why I do love this product. It's in the shade 7. It's still a tad too light for me to use at the moment. I have tried it because I bought it and I was just way too curious. And I do love it. It definitely is blurring. I don't know how they do it, and it's not, it has a very natural finish, but at the same time, it does cover the redness and all of that. I don't know what they did with this. I know I always love Fenty products, and I'm maybe not objective, but I swear this is gold. Moving on to my foundation with the highest coverage, and this without a doubt is the Smashbox. This is the Studio Skin Full Coverage 24-Hour Foundation. Now, you know I love a full coverage, full glam moment, so I do have a bunch of these options. I have the Huda, who is quite covering. I also have another one from Charlotte Tilbury. I have a bunch of these. This is on another level of coverage. This is like putting on a mask. Like, that's it. There's no skin underneath. I do not recommend using this every day, and I would advise you to, that night after using that foundation, do a hydrating mask, something to bring back some oxygen, some things to your skin, because this is high coverage. It has a beautiful finish because it's like it erases your face. It's like, there, new face for you. But yeah, it's not going to be the most comfortable. What I do when I use this, which it has been a while, is that I mix it with a drop of maracuja oil from Tarte, and that way it makes it a bit easier to blend into the skin and more breathable and not as masky feeling. I don't know how to explain it. It is a good foundation, honestly. Like, if you want to change your face, that is great. But yeah, definitely not an everyday, easy to wear, easy to put on foundation. Now, the foundation where I have the least coverage, it was a bit tricky because I wasn't sure what I could really put in a foundation category. I do have a BB cream from Clinique, which is actually, it's like, the product is gray, and when you rub it, then it delivers the pigment. It's very light in coverage, but it's technically more of a hydrating cream with a slight tint than it is a foundation. I also have the Becca glowy, I don't remember the name, that thing that I did a video on that was glowy as hell. It was way too shiny on my face. It didn't have much coverage, but I'm not putting this in my foundation category because I would never use that as a foundation. I still use it to mix in with other high coverage foundation to bring a little bit more light. But yeah, it's not to me a foundation in my collection. And so for the least covering foundation, I went with MAC Studio Face and Body Foundation. This is a very light coverage. It's definitely not gonna hide a whole lot. It's a beautiful finish though, very natural, very makeup to makeup, which is, you know, the circumstances in which I would wear this is when I want something that's light, that's easy, that's very natural, and that looks like I have practically nothing. I'm not in the mood for that kind of low coverage very often, you know that. But I'm also waiting for winter and my skin to go back to pale so that I can try this again because it has been a while. Moving on to the foundation, which is, in my opinion, overhyped. And this might not come as a surprise if you watched one of my previous videos in which I was talking about these products that are overhyped, in my opinion. Products that apparently everyone loves, but for me, it's just not working. And in this case, it's gotta be the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. This is one of these foundations that on paper works for everyone because you have a medium coverage. You can sheer it out a little bit. You can build it up if you want to. It has an in the middle finish where it's not too matte. It's not too luminous. It's a medium foundation, you know what I mean? It's just one of these products that really sits in the middle, which is why a lot of people technically can make it work, but for some reason I can't. What I mentioned in that video that I did, where I talked about it, is that it dries my skin. It makes it look dry and a bit cakey. It's just, you see a lot of the foundation, but not in a good way. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it. Am I gonna try this again to make it work? Yes, because that's what I always do. I always think, you know, maybe it's me, maybe I'm doing something wrong, maybe I should try using it with different techniques, with different tools. So I am gonna try this again. I mean, I have it, I want to wear it, but I feel like even if somehow I find a way to make it look okay on me, it's still only gonna be okay, you know? And this is a product that I feel so many people raved about, and like everyone has this in their collection. I don't really get it. I think it's overhyped. Now, on a more positive note, the product, in my opinion, that is underhyped. This is the Wet n Wild Mega Cushion Foundation with SPF 15. This is the shade Light Ivory. It's still too light for me to open at the moment. So this one is brand new. I haven't opened it yet because it's a cushion foundation. Like I said with the Dior, I don't want to open it just to try it and then have it sit in a drawer for a few months because then it's just gonna dry out. I had another one of these and it did dry out. I had to throw it out and I love it. This is a few bucks. Like it's probably what, like 6 or 7 euros, something like that. I don't know if it's still available. I don't know if it's available in Belgium. I bought it in New York and I love this foundation. It was such a beautiful satiny finish on the skin. It's not super high coverage, but it is enough where I feel like, you know, most of my redness is under control. It's just really a gorgeous finish. I haven't used it in a minute because, like I said, I had to throw out my other one. But yeah, from what I can remember and what I can see on pictures, this looked really, really beautiful. The fact that it's a cushion, sure, it dries out, but it also makes it easier to travel with and to touch up and to apply. It's just, this is a dream foundation and I have never heard anyone talk about it. And last but not least, for the final category, I'm going to talk about a foundation that I love, but for which I believe the packaging sucks. And that is the Bounce Foundation from Beauty Blender. Okay, first of all, you have this thing here in the back to block the pump. all right? The problem is that you don't see any open, close, any on, off. So unless you have a good memory, which is not my case, you might forget which one is closed, which one is open. So it's just really annoying. Once you unlock it, you can press the pump. I'm keeping it locked because I don't want to have a mess on my hands. The thing is that you have a little dip here in the packaging and the pump is right here. So technically, this should, when you squeeze it, this should dispense the product in here, and that way you don't have to put it on the back of your hand, and you can mix it in with another foundation or with an oil or with a cream, whatever you might want. Now, I see the reasoning behind it, saying, okay, let's not put foundation on the back of our hands and like mix it in that way. Let's have a product that's also a tool and that you can use to mix in different things and to pick up your foundation. Okay, I do get it. I don't think it was necessary because as far as I'm concerned, I don't mind putting foundation on the back of my hand. I have to clean it, but I mean, you still have to clean this and it gets a lot messier. And I mean, if I want to mix in different foundations or different products together, I would just use something else. You know, I wouldn't go for this necessarily. The biggest problem though is that in theory, I can be like, okay, yeah, I get it. But in practice, this is a mess because if you don't squeeze it in a way that falls, it just squirts everywhere. It is a mess. So I never really squirt the product into this little dip here because if I do, I'm taking a risk of some of it going in different directions. I have almost ruined some pants because of this, okay? So as much as I love this foundation, the packaging is annoying. Like, I get wanting to do something different, but sometimes just normal pump, that works. And that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. You can also subscribe to my channel because it's free, so why wouldn't you? And I will see you guys next time. Bye.